first strains of Avinu Malkeinu were most probably written by Rabbi Akiva in the 1st century. Later verses were added or compiled about 500 to 600 years ago. They plead with God, "Our Father, our King, hear our voices," and are a central supplicatory prayer of our Holy Day liturgy. The music that we associate with Avinu Malkeinu is not quite that old. The lilting, swaying Hasidic setting arrived in the 1800s, and the more majestic, soaring version, with more of the verses included, was written by composer Max Janowski in the 1960s. It has become the Avinu Malkeinu, even covered by Barbra Streisand. As you know, Jewish liturgy has evolved over the centuries. Both those who have led congregations in prayer, those who study praying communities have for centuries added, subtracted, embellished, and altered both language and music to better fit the conditions, tastes, and sensibilities of their particular time and place. Each of us here has been a part of the evolution of contemporary Reform Jewish prayer in America. We've acknowledged the limits of patriarchal language, the narrowness of solely masculine nouns and pronouns for God, and we have refused to perpetuate the invisibility of both our matriarchs and our female prophets. We now call on Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and Rachel and Leah. Miriam's name is now paired with that of Moses in Michamocha. Av Harachaman, compassionate Father, is now El Harachaman, compassionate God. But Avinu Malkeinu has remained untouched and unchallenged. How could we possibly alter a prayer that lives so lovingly in our hearts? Over the years, our clergy team has worked around it, offering more inclusive English translations or just leaving the Hebrew untranslated altogether. But the masculine patriarchal Hebrew that we sing somehow has remained sacrosanct. So what message are we sending? This is my 26th year leading congregations with these words, and singing them each year has become increasingly difficult. The meaning of those opening words has poked through my veil of willful ignorance and has gnawed at me. When I sing the words, Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, I feel like I am effectively saying, I know that this doesn't represent us women or those who are non-binary, but just go with it. That's what we do. When we teach our children or those new to or choosing Judaism, we must be prepared to defend our enshrinement of texts that are exclusive if we are to place them at the center of our prayer experience. I am struggling to defend words that exclude women and those whose gender do not fit neatly into male or female labels. No doubt, for many, these words don't matter at all, but it's the melody that's endearing to us. It pulls at our heartstrings, taking us back in time when others still stood with us at the new year. So it's fair to ask, can't we just update the words and leave our beloved melody alone? Good compositions, though, the really special ones, create a sacred marriage between the text and the music. Janowski's Avinu Malkeinu is a great example. In the best of these marriages, the text is animated to life by the music, and the music is motivated by the text. They are beshert. They are one. And believe me, while I am a big fan of second marriages, it doesn't always work to divorce a melody from its original text and expect the same melody to work as beautifully or as perfectly with new words plugged in. So after much grappling, I decided to compose an alternative. I even said to myself, this is chutzpahdik, Beth. You want to replace Avinu Malkeinu? And the short answer, at least for today, is no. But the longer answer is we should be offering language that is in step with where we are now. Our liturgy should convey to every human in this room that the God we pray to and plead with is reflected in all of us, not just the male members of our congregation. So I chose Makor Hachayim, source of life, words we have been using throughout the holy days for a few years now. They are expansive and inclusive. There is no gender at the source, only the allness and oneness of the Creator. The rest of the text remains as is in the Machzor. The spirit of the prayer remains intact. Only the moniker of God has been updated. I am humbled that this piece is being sung this year by over 50 congregations and has sparked many wonderful conversations around the difficulty associated with Avinu Malkeinu and other texts. We have only changed 2 words of this prayer, and yet 2 words have made a beloved piece of liturgy represent everyone. In the spirit of belonging, so much of what our congregational dialogue has centered around for the last year, in what other ways can the changing of a word or 2, or the offering of a simple pronoun, make a difference in the life of someone who wants to be affirmed and hear that they really do belong? My deepest appreciation to our rabbis for encouraging this new composition, to my dear friend and arranger Beth Stiles, who you've met, who elevated it beyond what I could have imagined, and to Rabbi Sue Levi Elwell, a pioneer of women in the rabbinate and Jewish feminist thought, sitting with us here this evening, to whom it is dedicated. It is my hope that our Reformed Jewish tradition always calls on us to evolve and expand and inspires us to create and do beautiful things in God's gender-transcendent name. Please rise. Mikor Hachayim Shma Koleinu, Mikor Hachayim Chatanu Lefanecha, Mikor Hachayim Chamol Aleinu, Ve'amol Aleinu, Mikor Hachayim Kalei Teret, V'cherem Merav Me'aleinu, Mikor Hachayim Kalei Kotzah U'Ma'asti Shana Tova, Shana Tova.